All right, once you click on the uCertify link, you're going to go to the uCertify sign-in page. On that sign-in page, you'll want to click your Google account. If you're signed into Google Classroom, your Google account should be linked to the Google Chrome browser. Once you select Google+, it'll use your Google account to log you into uCertify, and this will connect Google Classroom and uCertify together. Once you're in uCertify, you're going to go ahead and select My Library. If this is your first time logging into uCertify, you will not have any items in your library. What you'll need to do is add a license. Your license will be provided to you from uCertify or CIW, which is the company, and you will get the code and you'll enter it into this code right here. Once you enter in that code, you'll see that your course will appear in your library. If you have multiple courses, you'll have multiple courses in your library. We're going to go ahead and select on the training code that we're using for this demo, which would be the test CTE Web 1 training. Now, in your library, you'll have the choice of going into Student View, which will show you the exact view and the exact options that your students have when logged in. But for right now, since we're setting it up, we're going to go ahead and select Instructor Tools to set up uCertify. All right, from the Instructor Tools, you have the options of under Setup to add a section tag, name, the date that the class would start, and then how many days it would be to end, and then also set the mastery level. The mastery level is for course completion. In order for them to become certified, you would want to set an acceptable mastery level that you believe would be necessary for them to be successful on their certification test. All right, so the first thing we'll need to do is invite our students to our classroom, and this is a very simple process. Once you select invite, you can cut and paste or type in the student emails. In Okaloosa County, if you go to the gradebook, you can run a report that lists the students' names and their emails, and you can simply copy and paste the student emails one line at a time into this and send it, and the students will be invited through their Google accounts to uCertify. This is the quickest way to enroll the students, and it also ports in the student information. Once your students are invited, you're going to skip the track assessments and go to design. Under the design tab, this is where you can set up the entire course specifically per each lesson. You get to choose the visibility, whether the students see this item or not. So for time, let's say that you didn't start using uCertify to a certain point of the year, halfway through the year, and you've already taught these lessons, you can exclude them by just simply clicking on them, and it will cut out those lessons entirely from the student view. You can also change the award of points for each item. If you wanted to weight them differently, changing the points will change the weighted percent. And then also finally you get to select whether you report the data from those specific lessons. And to do that, you just simply check to report that data. Also, you could choose whether a certain assignment is graded or not. How uCertify grades it is automatically, and it will grade the students' reading habits, their flashcard success, and their quiz scores. This will automatically place it in a gradebook, which is very simple. If you use a different district gradebook, you can simply copy and paste these results into that gradebook, and it makes grading seamless. Once you've assigned all the lessons and set those up into the design tab, you can also look at the resources. The resources are available to download from each lesson. These resources can be then shared in Google Classroom. However, the students, when enrolled at uCertify, will already have access to these resources. You can also add additional resources to uCertify for the students to use. So if you have something out there that you really like to use, you're not limited to just what uCertify has to offer. You can upload your own resources into uCertify as well. Also, when you're setting up your class, you can also invite a teaching assistant. Teaching assistants, they can control all, some, or none of your classroom and just observe. This is an excellent way to train new teachers, or if you have an administrator who is observing you from outside of your classroom and you want them to be able to observe you based on your activity using online resources, you could assign that teaching assistant here and then determine the access that they have to your class. All right, that is essentially how we will set up uCertify to be used, and we'll dive more into how we're going to use uCertify in this curriculum product a little later in the presentation.